Hi, this is Kim Reads Urantia. I'm going to read to you from the Urantia book today. First, I'm going to read from Andrew Harvey, Light the Flame. Okay, and this is a Sufi prayer by Andrew Harvey. Okay. Grant that whatever you want of me, I may give it to you freely, and that whatever you ask me to do, that it be done in me by you. Okay, so that I am excuse me, I just Cheez-Its. I was just eating Cheez-Its, but Okay, so whatever you want of me, I may give it freely. So be generous of spirit. Sometimes this means being generous with our material resources. And I've been struggling with that lately a little bit. Giving freely goes pretty much against how I was raised. How I was raised was that, you got to be careful. You probably won't have enough. Coming up soon, you're not going to have enough, so you need to stockpile. And that's really this need to hoard is kind of against trusting in the future, trusting in God. Doesn't mean that we need to just give every last possession or every last dollar. Just you have to trust that trust God in the future. Okay, so it's kind of like one thing God has cautioned me against is prepare. Because if you are preparing for that disaster to hit, that's the same, according to the law of attraction, that's inviting a disaster. So I'm already thinking the disaster is going to come, something bad's going to come, so I'll need to have this. So you're kind of inviting that to come because your mind is already prepared for a disaster to hit. So if we trust that everything's going to be okay, that we're going to be taken care of no matter what, then I can relax and just have whatever happens take its course. It's like paying for something in advance. Why should you pay for something for a tragedy before it happens? You know that there's going to be some problems. You know that. But you don't have to pay for them before they happen. So that's why this whole concept of that brings me into insurance. I don't like insurance. I don't like the idea of insurance. Because that's what it is. Why should you suffer before the need to suffer? That's what it kind of is. So pay something in advance of when it happened. You see how kind of so then that will actually, the energy of that preparing for that bad thing to happen will actually invite the bad thing to happen. Anyway, okay, that's interesting to me. The other aspect of this prayer that I see is that whatever you ask me to do, that it be done in me by you. So that's allowing God inside of us to work on our minds and our hearts. And we get defensive about that sometimes because God working on us is like a sculptor working on a piece of wood, right? So he's coming at you with this knife and a chisel and is like working on you. That's a hard thing. So like imagine this knife coming at your face and chipping away the parts of you that aren't necessary. And that's I used to think of that. It's like God is like this sculptor that's at me like this, and that brings a lot of defensive feelings. But to allow that is takes some courage. But anyway, that's a lot to read into this little 4-line prayer. Okay, so whatever I do physically is in the physical realm is a reflection of the change that God has made in me. And I have to demonstrate that in an active way. Okay, and trust that. Really trust that. So yeah, that doesn't mean you should trust everybody out there. Trusting everybody that's out there is different than trusting the God that's inside of you, that's working on you. So you have to be able to discern. That's a hard line. So it means that we have to say, this is worthy of my attention, this is not worthy of my attention, and we have to decide that. But God puts the mechanisms inside of me that helps me be able to decide that. The method adjuster and the spirit of truth that's inside me. And I rely on those things. And I try to see the best in everything. Just trust. And it's hard when you've been wounded. But the worst wounds we do to ourselves, we want to isolate that person over there for hurting us, but we do it to ourselves. That person was here, did whatever they did, and then left. And then for years afterward, we're torturing ourselves by thinking, oh my gosh, how do I prevent this? How much insurance do I need to set aside so this never happens again? How can I prepare for this again in advance? So then that's suffering that I do to myself. So how do I not do that? You have to trust. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to read from the Urantia book here. Paper 25, section 6, the celestial recorders. So we've been reading about these messenger hosts and these keepers of records and these low level, I say low level, I'm pretty low level, but these beings that help us keep track of where we're at, and that on a very I don't want to say God's a micromanager or anything, because this is all freedom. We all just do, but these guys follow us and keep track of what's going on, and it matters to them. Everything we do matters. It matters to us. It matters to other mortals, people around us, and it matters to God. It matters in how the universe's reality is unfolding. Okay. These are the recorders, the celestial recorders, section 6. These are the recorders who execute all records in duplicate, making an original spirit recording and a semi-material counterpart, what might be called a carbon copy. This they can do because of their peculiar ability simultaneously to manipulate both spiritual and material energy. Celestial recorders are not created as such. They are ascendant seraphim from the local universes. Okay, so they're created as seraphim and they can ascend to these positions. And Okay, they are received, classified, and assigned to their spheres of work by the councils of the chief of records on the headquarters of the 7 superuniverses. There also are located the schools for training celestial recorders. The school on Uversa is conducted by the perfecters of wisdom and the divine counselors. So you know what? We don't think of these guys are like librarians and like journalists, right? Sorry, I've still got Cheez-Its in my gums. Okay. We don't think of librarians as being really high level kind of occupations. And but here they are. You have to ascend from being an angel to being a celestial recorder. And you have to go to school for it. And it's important to get it right. And recorders, reporters, so they report on these events to get it right, which is so different. That strikes me that's different from the idea we have about reality and librarians and there's just all kinds of information, and the disinformation, the really crazy stuff, is on the same level as the accurate stuff. The people who know what they're talking about, it's all the same thing, and it's kind of this anything goes kind of choose your own reality kind of mishmash of pseudo facts, right? Well, that makes just this wilderness of information that nobody can really navigate, and you get just lost in it. So I really appreciate that these celestial recorders are taking time to get things right. Tell us the truth. Tell us the truth. This crazy thing when nobody really knows what's and it's very dangerous for souls. There's all kinds of things that will take advantage of people who have limited understanding of truth, and that's really tragic. I see that. Okay, so these guys prevent that. I got to keep going. As recorders advance in universe service, they continue their system of dual recording, thus making their records always available to all classes of beings, from those of the material order to the high spirits of light. In your transition experience, as you ascend from this material world, you will always be able to consult the records of and to be otherwise conversant with the history and traditions of your status sphere. So we'll be able to understand what's going on, and everybody will be, well, there could be disagreements about things, or we think this, you know what I mean? But there's no argument as to like the fundamental nature of things. And yeah, I think everybody's kind of on the same page and not totally disregarding someone's input, because you come from that world over there. Well, that's just garbage then, that kind of thing that we do here. Everybody's or you're just trying to say that because you're trying to manipulate me into thinking this. Nobody's trying to do that. We're all just trying to come together to find the best way to do things, right? So that's what I would expect of these higher beings. Okay. The recorders are a tested and tried core. Never have I known the defection of a celestial recorder, and never has there been discovered a falsification in their records. Yes. Oh, that means so much. They are subjected to a dual inspection, their records being scrutinized by their exalted fellows from Uversa and by the mighty messengers who certify to the correctness of the quasi-physical duplicates of the original spirit records. Yeah, as you know, I've mentioned before, if I choose my destiny, I want to be a mighty messenger someday, so I can do that. I'll go and inspect those records, make sure they got it. Yep. So I know what's going on, and we're keeping you celestial recorders on your toes. That'd be great. Yeah. While the advancing recorders stationed on the subordinate spheres of record in the Orvantan universes number trillions upon trillions, those of attained status on Uversa are not quite 8 million in number. Okay. Okay. Okay, so there's stationed on the subordinate spheres of record in Orvantan universes. So there's lots of them that are out there. On Uversa itself, there's 8 million. So these senior or graduate recorders are the super universe custodians and forwarders of the sponsored records of time and space. Okay, so the ones that are the graduate level are stationed out on Uversa. Right, in the center capital, right there. Their permanent headquarters are in the circular abodes surrounding the area of records on Uversa. They never leave the custody of these records to others. As individuals, they may be absent, but never in large numbers. Okay. Okay, so they're always, it's an exclusive club here. It's like, no, yeah, I can't have my granddaddy watch the library while I go on a trip to wherever. They're, very diligent about that. Like those super Nephim who have become custodians of records, the Corps of Celestial Recorders is a permanent assignment. Once Seraphim and Super Nephim are mustered into these services, they will respectively remain celestial recorders and custodians of records until the day of the new and modified administration of the full personalization of God the Supreme. So the new era when everybody comes into realization of God the Supreme. Which will be an exciting time. Yeah, that's so cool that you've got something wonderful to look forward to in heaven that we're working together towards. Instead of everybody being on their cloud, playing their harp and stuff, and polishing their halo. It's not like that. On Uversa, these senior celestial recorders can show the records of everything of cosmic import in all Orvantan since the far distant times of the arrival of the Ancients of Days. While on the Eternal Isle, the custodians of records guard the archives of that realm which testify to the transactions of paradise since the times of the personification of the infinite spirit. Okay. Everything. They have the records of everything since the arrival of the Ancients of Days. And on the Eternal Isle in paradise, the custodians guard the archives that testify to the personification of the infinite spirit back when the Holy Trinity was becoming amazing. Okay, so that's amazing. Even though that's to eternity, there can't be a beginning to that, but it's kind of a quasi beginning or something. Anyway, this has been really great, and we'll see you again next time. Have a wonderful day, okay? Bye.